Mi gente, it is time for Cafecito Break. This is your host, Rosangel Pérez, with my brothers, Kozi and Mark. And featured this evening is one of our regulars, John Matland, who we hope will be popping in just a few moments. But before I reveal our sweet, adorable faces, please take this moment right now and like, share, comment, warm up the feed. This is when all of us start to waken up the algorithm. Okay, it's We the People time. Today we're going to be focusing on Trump, MTG, Epstein, and some NYC news. We are on Cafecito Break, and you can listen to our show on YouTube, X, and Rumble. All right, mi gente. Without further ado, let me introduce my brothers, Kozi and Mark. Hello.
What's going on, everybody?
How's everybody doing today?
Doing wonderful.
Spectacular. We're doing introductions or we're going right into it?
Well,
Everybody knows us by now, right?
well, no, but you know what? Since we're learning to be official, let's tell the community. This show is brought to you by Kozi's Pure Soaps, available now for purchase. Visit Kozi's Pure Soaps at Instagram and make sure that you invest in local brands.
If
My
you're
name is
buying other soaps, what are you doing? Forget about it.
Forget
Kozi's Pure
about
Soaps
it.
is the way to go.
That's right, mi gente. So welcome. I'm one of the Pérez sisters of Cafecito Break. We are here live every Monday that we can, 8 p.m. Eastern time, and we are hosted by brothers that you see here, Kozi and Mark for NY. One thing that I like to say is that, boy, has there been lots of fightings everywhere you look. I'm tired of it. So I am going to extend a cafecito break to all of you and say, you know what? I don't want to fight. I don't want to bicker. I don't want to be out in the street recording and getting into it with any of you. We have much bigger things at bay that we have to really focus in on. And if we're fighting, that means that we're losing the battle. So whatever that means to you, our excuse me, our spotlight guest, which is our brother John Matland, he will be on shortly. But let me pass it on to Kozi to introduce himself, Mark, and then we'll bring him right up.
What's going on, everybody? It's Kozi. I'm a former healthcare worker that was fired for refusing the COVID shot, and here a medical freedom activist for, I don't know, about almost 2 decades. So I've been fighting the fight, and we're here today to talk about a lot of stuff, right? The division that's happening, and we're going to get into it all. Division. We're going to talk about New York City politics. We're going to talk about possible picks for school chancellor that are being rumored, all types of stuff. So that's my little intro. Mark, what's going on, Mark?
How's it going, fellow freedom-loving Americans? Mark from Y here. I'm back to PG version of myself. The New York City election is over. It's time to go back to staying calm, cool, and collective and professional. But I do have a PG rant for you guys coming a little later on in the program. Welcome to the Brooklyn Free Speech, those who are watching us on local cable TV. And we got a great show for you. John Matland, our guest, ran for Congress in South Brooklyn and Staten Island. So, longtime friend of the freedom fighters. Looking forward to having him on. And speak of the devil, there he is, the one and only John Matland. Welcome, John.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm sorry I don't have a headset. You guys all have the headset, so hopefully I don't mess your audio up. And I am definitely excited to jump into quite a bit. I have about 30 minutes, and I would just love to touch on everything. And specifically, Rose Angel sent me over, a text as I was posting this morning from my palm tree ridden backyard. And she said, like, we're on the same exact level plane. And that post has since gotten a lot of traction. And I don't know if this is like where you guys wanted to start, but I'm watching division happen again in real time and nobody's using logic. I've been told that I'm a Jew hater today for saying that I think that U.S. politicians, and I don't actually think U.S. politicians, I know U.S. politicians should only focus on U.S. citizens. And what we saw come from Eric Adams is a little bit of, he vocalized something you don't say out loud for the most part, but he's very dim as a human being. He's very dim-witted. And he said the quiet part out loud, and that should scare everybody for a multitude of reasons.
First, can I say he looked like a total dunce out there with that, he's out there like, pandering, kissing butt. We all know he doesn't care about, he doesn't care about Israel. He doesn't care about that stuff. So he's just pandering. It's all nonsense. But I know that people got triggered. People got upset with your post today. And I'm quick to defend you, John. I know you're not an anti-Semite. I know that that's not your, that's not who you are. Right. And I know you made it clear in your caption, you made it clear in the things you said that this is not about that. This is about why is a mayor, a sitting mayor of New York City going over to another country, okay? First of all, using our tax money to go there, one, and two, like saying that I'm your mayor, basically, right? He didn't say your mayor, right? I'm the mayor.
He said, I served you.
I served you as the mayor.
Yeah.
Right?
Really quick, John, when you're not talking, John, could you mute yourself? Because we're getting an echo from Kozi probably because of your end.
Okay, so like that's what I want to be clear with. And I will defend John because I know he's righteous and I know that, he wouldn't say something like that. That's not who he is. And none of us here. So we need to stop using the name calling and let's think about the topic, right? Think about what John was saying. And he's pointing it out correctly. Stop getting upset. We were upset when people were going to Ukraine. We were upset whenever our country goes into other countries and fights and does whatever it does. We're against that. Stick to your country. Focus on your deteriorating city, right? This guy's dancing around, right? Mayor Adams dancing around in nightclubs, doesn't give a shit while the city is burning. Yeah, be a mayor. Why are you going to Puerto Rico? Why are you going to this and that? Like you're going everywhere but New York City.
Would you like to see the clip? That way people can see for themselves. And I would like to also chime in that two things I did not see, and I have not seen any of the comments. So I'm just sort of learning everything for the first time now. I'm a little saddened to hear it. I feel calm in my spirit. There's nothing to defend here on this. But I will say that when I heard the video and I saw it for myself before John and I collaborated on this post earlier, I was not happy with just the clip and that visual, because we're just living such heated times where so much New Yorkers are being affected by so much of politics that have nothing to do with what's really happening to everyday New Yorkers. That is the only reason why I feel salty about the clip. So let me show you. Here we go.
My male team here in Israel, and as I finish, I wanted to come back here to Israel and let you know that I serve you as the mayor, but I want to continue to have the title that's more important to me than anything. I'm your brother. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Can I just say, I'm going to just break this down logically and a way that is bipartisan so the people that get triggered on the left can understand as well. When Tucker Carlson went and interviewed Vladimir Putin, everyone said, how dare he speak to Vladimir Putin? And now Tucker Carlson's a talking head. He's a journalist. And even speaking to somebody from another nation is a problem to try to figure out if there's an off-ramp and what the other side's viewpoint is so you can become knowledgeable. Now, a politician is so if this was a Republican politician that went to Russia, if this was Donald Trump and he went to Russia and said, I just want to let the citizens of Russia know that I served you as your president, you would have the same exact outcry because it's just logically based in location and where your country is and where you live and what country that is needs to be put first. Regardless, if you want to be Israel first, I'm assuming you're an Israeli and you live in Israel, because if you're an Israeli that lives in the US, this is your domicile, this is your home, this is your country. You have to be America first. And it's the same for every other country. Nobody walks into a negotiation and says, hey, how can I get walked on today? I expect Mexico to have a negotiation with Trump and put Mexico first as much as they can until they have to hopefully bend to a good deal for the U.S. because it's America first in my book. So logically, I'm just trying to explain what this sets up. If you're okay with the sitting mayor of New York City going to Israel, then you're okay with and saying I was your mayor. You're okay with Mamdani coming in and saying I am your mayor and visiting Palestine. It's the same thing. It's just not your side. And the reality is it all needs to stop. It's all bullshit.
That's a good point, John. And I just want to say, to be clear, like, when we're saying this stuff, like we respect, like, listen, I have friends from both sides, right? I have friends that are Jewish, I have friends that are Muslim, and I respect both of them. And this is not about that, right? We want unity from both sides. We would love peace. I would love peace. I'm speaking for myself. I'm sure you guys share the same thing. But this is totally different. This is about what John clearly stated, right? Where we cannot have sitting mayors visiting other countries and saying, like, basically, yeah, I served you as the mayor. Like, what do you mean you served them? That's not your job, dude. Stay in New York and just do your job, man. City's burning.
I find it very interesting when it comes to the topic of anything Israel, because if you mention Putin's name, so if you criticize Putin or Russia, no one says that you hate Russian people. If you criticize the fact that we send money to Ukraine and Zelensky not wearing a suit and being a clown, doesn't mean you hate the Ukrainian people. If you criticize China and how it's a communist government and Xi, and it's not like you hate the Chinese. If you go and you criticize Kim Jong-un in North Korea for being a dictator, you're not considered hating North Korean people. But God forbid you criticize Netanyahu or Israel for being a corrupt government, all of a sudden you're an anti-Semite. And it's not even, this topic isn't even about, the corruption of Israel, because that's a completely different topic. That goes into Epstein, that goes into the Charlie Kirk assassination, that goes into a lot of things that we're going to be talking about, or at least I'm going to be talking about. But you don't necessarily hate Jewish people. A government could be corrupt, a leader could be corrupt, a politician could be corrupt without hating the people that they represent. So I don't understand. I mean, I understand why, because it's a tactic to get you to not criticize Israel. Because I don't want to criticize Israel. I don't want people to call me an anti-Semite. That's not going to fly with me. You can call me whatever names you want to call me. I know that I'm not racist or anti-Semitic or whatever BS words you want to go and put in there. I'm going to quote my nemesis, the fake news Let's Go Brandon: all right, far right, all the wrong right, xenophobic, homophobic, transphobic, all the phobic, tinfoil hat, QAnon conspiracy theorists. You can name me all those things in the book. It's bullshit, okay? It should be America first. We're not sending money to Ukraine with U.S. tax dollars. We shouldn't be sending money to Israel with U.S. tax dollars. And that's what it comes down to. Nothing to do with hate for any race or religion or anything of that nature. So,
and I just want to throw in this idea that we put money out across the world. We keep funneling money into the military industrial complex. And the people that are all there screaming like, hey, we should have free bus rides and free healthcare. Well, imagine what you could do for healthcare costs for yourself and your family and American citizens if you stopped turning it into bullets to kill everybody and then separating us and breaking us into different pieces. There's ways where you talk about what we subsidize currently as a government, yet we're sending money to like Afghanistan for transgender studies. So if you really care about the things that you preach about how we can make our country more affordable and actually accelerate, let's start actually having that talk and not calling people I've been called xenophobic. I've been called anti-Semitic. I've been called all of it, all because I'm like, hey, can we make our country better for our country, which includes, get this, Jewish people, Muslim people. So how do I hate them if I want them to have a good life with all of us? But that's just me, just talking logic.
I also find it interesting that when we have hurricane victims in North Carolina or what happened in Hawaii and all this stuff, all of a sudden we don't have money. That we don't have the money to help our people. But we got to send a lot more money to Israel and Ukraine, no problem, approve right away. But people suffering, losing their homes, we don't got money for them, right? It's nonsense.
Great point, Mark.
Sorry.
I'm going to get into my other rant really quick while John is on here, and that has to also do with the topic of division. It's bad enough that we already have two wings of the same bird, and they want to divide us between right and left. They want to divide us even further than that. They want to divide us because there's people on the right that, you know, don't necessarily like Israel right now. So that's one division. And then now you have Trump attacking MTG and MAHA and dividing MAGA. And even on the left, you have Democrats that are like, well, I'm not communist here, but the Democratic Socialists of America are kind of taking the lead here in New York City and other places. And it's kind of like, oh, well, if you don't vote for the Democrat, then you're going to have a Republican. So you got to go and vote for the socialist now. Otherwise, you're going to have a Republican. So there's the division all across the board. They want us divided. They want us to basically give up. And it's very important, especially with the midterm elections coming up, that Republicans stay united, because that's what they want. Oh, I'm not going to vote for this person because Trump didn't endorse him, or I'm not going to vote for this person because I'm mad at Trump and I'm mad at the Republican Party, because that's exactly what they want. We had red waves. Now we're about to have a blue wave because they want all the Republicans to stay home in the midterm elections, and we can't have any of that. We are very close. The communist threat is very real. We need to elect America First Republicans all across the country. Forget about whether Trump or the party endorses somebody. Look into the person himself. John Matland is a perfect example of that. The party didn't endorse him. Trump didn't endorse him, but he was the better candidate, and I endorsed him against what the party wanted. And we got a lot of people like that across the country, which we need to give a chance to, because you keep complaining about the government being corrupt, but yet you keep supporting the people that they tell you to support. It's time that we make a change, and that needs to be done nationwide. Thank you.
I'm just going to go and say, I recently asked Roger Stone this at a Young Republicans meetup here in Palm Beach County. And I said, how do we get the general public knowledgeable enough to go and look at the candidate list and read a 10-minute informational sheet on a website, and not just succumb to who has enough money to plaster their face on yard signs and all the other crap that we see? And he gave me a roundabout answer that led to the same starting place. Basically, it's impossible, which I fail to believe. And that's me being the ever optimist. But we had that conversation. And afterwards, I find myself in the same spot every time. People that have an open way of thinking, they gravitate to anyone who says these types of things, like what Mark is saying. And I got surrounded and everyone said, what are you running for and when are you doing it next? I had people in the Republican Party saying the same thing. And I told the person that's in the actual affiliated Republican Party, you won't like me. I don't kiss rings and I need the support to run here because I don't have my crew like I did in New York. And I would need you, but I don't think you'll like me. And then she said, well, why would we not like you? And I said, because I don't answer to the stupidity that everyone else does, the ass kissing to get into office and the control I represent if I'm going to run. People, actual people, not some party that gives me directives or some PAC that lines my pockets. And just to be clear, this bed is kind of made, Jeffrey. He said that my bed's not made. And this is my bedroom and office. So cheers to that.
Yeah, I mean, John, I was endorsed by the Republican and Conservative Party both years that I ran, so within the local party. So it's not like they won't endorse an outside. It depends on the specific party and all that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they won't like you because a lot of the people on the local level are, good people. It's, more of the higher up, and you have the APAC and all that stuff, which I'm going to transition a little bit. APAC funding people, that's, the pro-Israel, pro-Jewish community and all that, which owns pretty much every Congress member except for Thomas Massie. And Massie recently got remarried after he lost his wife last year after coincidentally commenting on APAC. He got remarried, and Trump put out a Truth Social post saying, wow, he got remarried already? And went in and said she'll soon find out that he's a loser. I'm like, oh my God, like you got
so disgusting.
Come on, Trump.
Now
like
that you're mentioning this, is Donald Trump, right? Ran as a Make America Great Again, right? Like he's all about America first. But now in this second term, I'm noticing that he's turning his back on that, what it seems, and he's attacking everybody who truly is Make America Great. So, like you said. One of the things is Rand Paul. He's calling Massie Rand Paul Jr., which is he's hitting two birds with one stone by saying that, right? He's dissing Rand Paul, who's one of the best politicians we've ever had in this country, right? And then we have, Thomas Massie, disrespecting them when they are truly America first, just because they don't go along with his plan and they vote no a lot of times. He doesn't like that. He likes to control people. He likes to bully people. And now he's being exposed. And I don't care what you guys think. A lot of people are going to attack me for this, but I don't care. If you really care about this country, you're not going to just, go along with the plan. There's things that are wrong. We're going to call it out. We don't care what party you're on. Both parties are being controlled. We saw it clearly in New York with this disgusting stuff that I've been talking about. We've all been talking about ad nauseum, where they're telling you to vote for Andrew Cuomo, the uniparty, right in your face. And shame on Trump for doing that. Shame on him for attacking real patriots. It's disgusting. We're not going to have it. We're just going to call it out. And that's and that's causing division. And what I wanted to say is that MAGA now seems like they're turning into almost like a neoconservative type of thing. So they're regressing back into that. And it's disgusting. I'm not for it.
Yeah, I'm a little torn here. It's very disappointing to see Trump take certain stances. He just did a full 180 last night on the Epstein list. He's urging all Republicans to vote for the Epstein files to be released tomorrow. So I guess he heard a lot of the MAGA voices and people burning his hats and all that they're not a fan of that, and he kind of transitioned on that. He has done a lot of good things in his second term, and that goes to MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and him having a fight, saying he's not going to endorse her again, and him saying that she's mad that I don't return her calls anymore. I can't take her calls every day, and trying to make it seem like she's crazy and say she's going on shows like The View. And she was mad at him at the Epstein list. The Epstein list doesn't define his presidency. It's obviously a big flaw, especially when he said Democratic hoax and things of that nature. But Charlie Kirk was asking questions. He got killed. it's kind of something that just should be put out there already. I did a post that with a few good men where they said you want Trump, you want the truth, and the American people said that they want the truth, and he says you can't handle the truth. I did a post on that on Instagram if you guys want to check it out. I'm not going to go into what I wrote about it, but it doesn't define his presidency. He got fentanyl, the ingredients of fentanyl, regulated in China. So we should have the fentanyl production significantly get decreased. So that's a big thing. So there's a lot of things that he's doing, which is good, but it's also very difficult to support him when he's attacking people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey and Rand Paul. It's just it's sad to see. It goes into the division that I was talking about. It makes you wonder whether Trump is corrupt, whether he's owned by Israel or whatever the case may be. But John, I'm going to pass it to you in a second because we're almost out of time on the Brooklyn free speech side of things. So I just want to. Oh no, the 26, not 28. All right, John, what are your thoughts?
I just think that it's a very basic understanding that no one gets a free pass. Not Donald Trump, not anybody. There is no free passes. We're all accountable. And when I see people go, oh, I can't believe people are breaking the party up. Listen, we've all wanted this list released. And if you don't want to look like it that you're being bribed or there's blackmail somewhere in this, you release it. You campaigned on releasing it. It's very simple. It gets released. We do not stand for protecting pedophiles and this epic corruption and disturbing pattern that we watched unfold within government agencies, kind of covering it up and having influencers like the visual of libs of TikTok and DC Drano like holding up a binder. That I remember looking at my screen that morning and I was like, what would I do if I was invited? Well, I would live stream it. And then when they handed me that piece of shit book, I would flip the table and be pulled out because I don't need to be some sort of influencer. We're watching a concerted effort to control everyone's mind. There's always been gatekeepers from Hollywood to the music industry. You only got through if there was a path and a control and a way that you can be used and abused. And now social media erased that. So that's why they brought in shadow banning. And that's why they brought in, I have to say it, free trips to Israel for some people to go and kiss the wall. It's a whole entire mechanism to control. If I got flown out to Russia and I sipped vodka with
Sorry to interrupt you there. Free trips to Israel is a long time thing with Israel and Jewish people. So
not that, Mark. Not that. That's birthright. Totally understandable. I'm talking about influencers that are not Jewish are getting $100,000 trips and being toured around. And this is factual. So when you look at it, nobody gets a free $100,000. They're not going to take my Lutheran ass out to Israel and fly me around unless there's a bottom line for them. And I get it because nothing's for free. If I get taken somewhere, I expect what there's going to be an ask. And when that shoe drops, they know that I'm the guy that they're going to have to make disappear before I go and I do what I'm told. So this is why people are shadow banned, because if you don't get shadow banned, the control mechanism for any government, whether the US government, any government, it's not just Israel, it's all these governments that keep us separated, they lose their power. They need us separated. We know this since day one, and they've infiltrated the way we've worked around it. And the only way we win this whole entire spiritual war is by using our mind and using logic.
That wraps it up for Brooklyn Free Speech portion of the program, airing every Saturday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll see you next week. The podcast continues live. And I'll pass it back to Rose Angel, who's been quiet for a while. Take it back from the top. What's going on? What's your thoughts?
Too many thoughts. I want to share something, a quote that I've shared many times. If freedom of speech is taken away, then dumb and silent we may be led like sheep to the slaughter. I want to just say and reestablish and reset the space for those who might be joining us for the first time to tell you that Cafecito Break was founded on this principle of holding space for people to express themselves in the way that they naturally express themselves. So nobody here is necessarily policing other people's thoughts, and no one's policing mine. I'm not sitting here taking a checklist to see what religion you are, who do you support. I accept people as they are, and to me, having this moment with my brothers here and all of you who are tuning in, to me, that's a blessing. So how do we use this moment of now? Do we use it to continue to BITCH, to complain, to point out what somebody said that was not correct, or this one did this and this one did this, and now all of a sudden you crossed the line and I can't be your friend anymore? Look, for the last couple of weeks in the election, I had people dogging me out. I honestly don't have any ill will in my heart towards any of them. Like, stop. Let's be adults. There are much bigger things right now that we have to worry about, such as some of the conversations that we're going to continue to unfold right now. So, and also a conversation that I want to get into, but at a later time, maybe next week, I want to talk about this freaking digital ID, right? Part of the reason why we're even here and what brought us all here together is the dark time in 2020. You know, that was a moment in time where a lot of people who were known to just do this, God was calling them to, well, what do you do now? And who I'm talking about that did this, I'm talking about the big mouths who were teachers, the big mouths activists that were like, no, not on my watch. A lot of teachers and mentors that we had in different types of communities, whether they were elders or religious figures. So many people sold out, and so many people sold out their people, and so many people, through fear, obeyed what the politicians told them to do and follow the money. That's all I want to say. John?
Yes. There's people that follow the money, and then there's people that forget. And that's the problem with history. Whoever's in a powerful position, they decide what has happened. And that is something that happened with 1199. I still get texts from my former union, and they were telling me that I better get out there and vote for Zoran Mandami. And I said, I couldn't help myself. I texted and I said, I don't even live there, but I'm actively campaigning for Curtis Sliwa. And then this person, actually, I give her credit, she started writing back, well, I'm a nurse, and so I'm going back and forth with this 917 number, having a great old time. And then I got to, how did you feel about when we all got fired and you guys got a bonus 30 days after our 30 days after our termination, or 60 days after our termination? And she said, that's a lie. There was no bonus. Well, allow me to retort. There was a bonus. Full-time workers got $3,000 on November 30th, if I'm not mistaken, while part-time workers received the half $1,500. You had to be employed for 90 days, and well, that just left enough time to get rid of little old me and all of my brothers and sisters, as the union would say, who did not comply. So I explained that, and they kept saying back to me, that's not true, you're a liar. Well, again, I don't take well to stupidity, and I have to use logic. So what I did was I took the current vice president of the union and I put her in a chat with this caller and said, hey, one of your socialist pushing communist friends has decided that there was no bonus. So I figured I'd reintroduce both of you to have that conversation, because I don't like being texted and being called a liar. Obviously, no one answered and the conversation died after that, but I kind of put that person in their place. And the reason is there's something that happens, and we've watched it. We've watched people that have taken at least 3 or 4 doses act like, well, it was needed at the time because it's a coping mechanism. And then they go, well, we never really said you shouldn't be allowed to go into the market or to the restaurant or the theater. It just seemed that way. It was Chris Cuomo that said it. Or Chris Cuomo comes out on TV and says, I'm vaccine injured, something along those lines. And if somebody would have only let me know what the risks were, that was like last summer. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I could tell you about 1,000 of us in New York City that were literally blocking off streets, holding rallies while you and Don Lemon said we shouldn't be able to eat. So yeah, we were speaking, and everybody just skews history. So my point is, we have to always remind people, because if you don't, the coping mechanism will just change the way it was. It'll be like, oh, I never supported anyone losing their jobs, but they did.
By the way, I got the same text message and I responded in a very nice and harsh way too.
For those of you that don't know, the digital ID, it's available now in America, but in the UK, it's going to be implemented mandatory. And if you don't get it, then you won't be able to work. I believe that's what the Prime Minister or somebody said over there. So the UK is just, it's pretty much going full communist on steroids. Basically arresting people for social media posts and all types of tyranny going on there. The reason why it's going on there is they gave up their guns a while back, and you could see how important that is here, because they're not going to try that until they disarm Americans. So they're gonna have a mass shooting every now and then and try to put it out there. But for those of you that don't know, it's available in America now on your iPhone. You could upload your ID to your Apple Wallet or as a digital ID that can be accepted in airports. It's available now. I'm not sure if it's accepted in airports yet, but I believe that is the plan. See, the pros to that would be somebody who's spent a lot of time in Vegas. People lose not me, losing IDs, but IDs being lost is a very common thing where you show your ID at a club, you put it in your pocket, you're done, and then you got to try to find a way home because you don't have an ID now. Some of the hotels can get you like a temporary thing so that you can get on a plane. It's a little bit of a mess. So having it on the phone as a backup if you lose your physical ID, I could see the benefits of it, but I could also see the digital ID being something that's, if it's the only method that you're forced to have a digital ID, and they could kind of, the goal is the goal going back decades before 9/11, when one of the Rothschilds was interviewed, was get everyone to have a digital wallet and all their money is on there. And if, all RFID chip or whatever the case may be. And if they don't comply, then you just turn off their chip. So it still sounds like
Go ahead.
It still sounds like a conspiracy theory, but so was vaccine passports. So was weather modification. So is everything that we know is true now was a conspiracy theory. So hopefully it doesn't come down to that. But that's the very real scary side of having digital ID, is the government could just turn you off at any time if they don't agree with you.
My question to you, I'll start with John because he's our guest, is can we stop this? Is it possible? Or is it a thing of like, we can try to slow it down? Because my take on it is, look at what happened to the people who refused the shot, right? There's a minority of us that really fought and was willing to lose our job. So how realistic is it for us to stop it? And what can we do to protect ourselves?
Yeah, I think that there's probably an idea out there that they're going to get the same amount of people that gave in to take the shot to go digital, and they'll just deal with us rascals that refuse, and then eventually they'll let us back into society, probably within a year or two. Court cases will be like, well, you can't make them get it, but by that point they will have trained society and the sheep to do it, and they'll have a lot of control and have a lot more people under their thumb, which is ultimately what they want. And they'll probably say that the small percentage that managed to keep on managing, whether they look at us like roaches that we can survive the nuclear blasts at this point, or be running around without a head for 2 weeks. That might just be what they're expecting, and they might not care. But ultimately, I implore everybody just not to do it, and then we win right off the bat. But that we know how that goes.
But listen, this is the problem, right? This is the problem. Is like we know a lot of us who don't want it, but if you're in a city like New York City, how realistic is it for you to opt out of it? Because basically, we need an alternative to get around it. Because if we don't have that alternative, they're going to starve us. They're going to tell you, you can't travel, you can't eat, you can't, maybe you can't purchase things. They're going to shut us off. So we need to make connections to farmers. Okay. We need to make sure we have that back route, because without that, it's going to be very easy for them to just make us submit to our knees. Right. As much as we want to rebel against this, and as much as we don't want to go along with it, a lot of you will fall because you won't be prepared. And we're like past due. We're behind schedule. We need to really move quicker. We need to start talking to each other and make a solid plan on how the hell we're going to get food and water and resources to us, and how are we going to travel if there's going to be transportation shut. We got to find these, and let's start talking about it as a community, because we need to stop these devils. We know what they're about to do to us, and it's going to come faster than you think. We're not prepared, people. And I don't have the answers, but I'm willing to come together to get these answers solved immediately.
Yeah, and I'm going to leave you guys with this because I do have to jump, and I really do thank you guys for having me, and I do want to do this again when I'm not time strapped, because hanging out with you guys.
And when you have your bed made, just joking.
But you guys, I could do this all day with. I mean, but there was something that, and again, not advocating for anything crazy, I have to say that, but there was one point that they had in the Staten Island Advance, if I'm not mistaken, that due to spotted lantern flies, that you may not be able to travel outside of the city limits or something. Like, they started musing this years ago about the lantern fly. So you'd have to say it was probably in like 2022, I think. And
I think it was sooner than that, 2018, maybe even, but
when I read it, the first thing was I pictured myself getting to like the outer bridge and there being a barricade, and they say, I'm sorry, due to the lanternfly, you can't leave. Well, I'm guaranteeing you that I would probably be leaving planet Earth one way or the other, because that car is going over that bridge until it can't go no more. So I'm not saying Revolution 2.
Where was this?
I'm pretty sure the article was 2022 or 2023, but I digress.
Where was this where they were telling people this? Like,
the Staten Island Advance.
Get the hell out. That's crazy.
And it was the mental conditioning. People were like, oh, I guess I'm not going to be able to take my car because there might be an egg sac on the tire, and then the lanternfly will go and spread around. And I'm just listening to people, and I'm like, if you ever say that again in front of me, I will slap you in the face. Like, challenge you to a duel. What is wrong with everybody? But sheep will sheep. And it is up to shepherds to rally the sheep up and say, stop following Satan for the love of God. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, John.
And next time,
see you soon.
Full time.
Always a pleasure, man.
Always a pleasure.
Bye, guys.
Good to have you, John. Good to see you.
You too. Bye.
Make your bed.
So, as a trucker, the spotted lanternfly is something they teach us about. I remember back in, I think, 2019 when I started trucking, late 2019. But it was already heavy in Pennsylvania for years because they're worried about them eating the crops and things of that nature. But they're all over the place now, so there's really not much you could do. But I think I vaguely remember that, and I remember seeing them. I saw one in Bay Ridge when I would go for a walk on the water by the Verrazano Bridge, and I saw one and stepped on it, and they seem to be running around Bay Ridge a lot. Like, it's crazy because I never saw them in New York before. But Anyway,
We still
like,
see them, and I don't like them.
yeah.
We have other topics that we need to get into.
Yep. But to answer Kozi's question, Jeff pointed out no guns, no liberty, based on the comment that I had 7 minutes ago talking about the Second Amendment. But it reminds me of a speech that I had before the mandates, actually started firing people. Was the speech that I said, it's very simple, just say no. But we saw how that worked out. When push comes to shove, people will just comply because they don't want to be the odd person out. It's just, if you're united, united we stand, divided we fall. It's a very common saying. It's as simple as that. Just don't comply, and we won't have that issue. So, in regards to the digital ID, to Kozi's question before, but you said we had other topics, Cafecito, so I'll pass it to you.
Kozi.
Yeah, man. Well, John Macari posted a great article, and it was back in 2015 with Jamal Bowman, another DSA, princess. So basically, he was formerly a school principal, and his school had the lowest grades, pretty much one of the lowest grades in the city. So his kids are doing very poorly, and instead of helping them, helping them learn how to read better, learning arithmetic, learning how to to improve their grades, he's condemning the test. He's blaming the test, and he literally said that standardized testing is equivalent to slavery. Okay, imagine that you're not willing to teach your children in your school to improve and get smarter, and a lot of kids are smart. They just need proper teaching, and you got to get a certain method, and it's hard being a teacher, right? Especially with math and even reading, right? So like you need a right teacher to help them to learn, and you got to be on top of them, and different techniques work for different kids, whatever the case may be. But instead of trying that, you're equating it to slavery. Okay, and the reason I'm bringing this up, and the reason what John Macari brought it up today, is because there's rumors that saying that Jamal Bowen is going to be appointed as a school counselor, right? New York City school counselor. Now, some people are saying that'll never happen. It might not. Hopefully, it doesn't. But these are the type of people that are trying to infiltrate our government. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because the scary thing is they want everybody the same, right? They want equal. They don't want you to be smart. They don't want you to excel, because excellent is a threat to them. Brilliance is a threat to them. They want your child to just be below standard and a victim. Oh, it's because of slavery. It's because of this. No, stop it. Stop it. This is 2025, about to be 2026. We have the resources. There's plenty of intelligent people out there that can make this happen. Teach the children. They're not victims. Don't let them be victims. Teach the children, teach them with love, and show them that anybody in this country can make it. If Eric Adams can become mayor of New York City, all right, with his I have a dyslexia, or whatever excuse he says, whatever he's saying, right? I'm not making fun of dyslexics. What I'm saying is, look at him. Just look at that goofball. He became mayor. So if he can become mayor, anybody can become mayor.
Well, I'd like to add something. And also, I'm a little bit dyslexic, and I'm not offended by his comment. We have to be, there's all these studies that show that people who have, or either like are okay within their threshold, I mean, everything within limits, where you might say a cuss word here and there, or you might challenge someone, or like we had our brother John, like he's gonna stand in his authenticity no matter how much pressure comes at him. A lot of us here are kind of the same. COVID opened our eyes if they weren't already opened. But what COVID did was sort of like, all right, a lot of us were like talking the talk. COVID sort of put it right there to you. What are you going to do with it? For my sister and I, we had a shop in which we were helping for almost 9 or 10 years our community bridge that inner point with themselves where they were either, looking for a more holistic way of living. And so we saw ourselves almost like mini teachers. When the shutdown is happening, we didn't have a lot of people to look around and be like, well, who's going to guide us? We were those people in that tiny community. We needed to step up. How can we say, quote unquote, we were these like medicine teachers, for example, and all of a sudden when it got rough, we weren't even going to have words of faith to impart to people in some of their greatest moments of fear? And all we saw, and then the other hat of having my entire professional life be media, not just independent media, but professional media. So I can understand the language of TV and see a lot of the psyops that's maybe everyday people don't see, but a lot of people are seeing now. And a lot of people are also tired of AI. They're also tired of fakeness. They're also tired of being told how to think and what to say and how to talk. And so you are seeing and experiencing a great rebellion everywhere. And the youth are very, for many reasons, they are having their rebellion. Now, if I'm going or we're going to attract youth to us, I don't want it to be in a form of rebellion. I want it to be like those folks there. Maybe I don't see eye to eye with all of them, but I know a couple of things. They're going to be authentic. Those folks over there, maybe there's a part of me that hates the fact that they all voted Trump, but look at a time like this, they're not being led by Trump. When Trump said, forget in New York and vote Cuomo, we were standing strong in our square and our integrity. This latest fight, or when he's hitting at Massey or taking down Marjorie Taylor Greene, which, if anybody has been tuned in, has been one of Donald Trump's greatest allies and supporters, even when almost nobody in the public square, especially during those big dark takedowns, nobody was really out there speaking. To me, that counts for something. I want to stand with people that I know that are consistent, that are full of integrity, that can own up to mistakes. A lot of us are still waiting for people to own up to something. I'm not stupid. I understand there's a lot of complexities to the Epstein files, but we need to see. We need to understand. Now, that comes with a warning. Are we prepared, right? As sort of like what Mark was echoing. Are we going to be prepared as a human collective? The outpouring of tremendo bullshit that is just teetering to be revealed. What does that mean? Then that means that there's a call for all of us who are feeling like, whether we wanted to or not, we're in these sort of teaching / leadership position. That doesn't mean you're better than anybody or that you know more than anybody. It just means that maybe you have a little clue, a little insight, a little bit more experience as to how to move in these waters. Here, Cafecito Break, the Perez sisters, we're going to be offering Zoom classes in which we're going to be focusing solely, on just sort of reminding you the importance to ground and tools and techniques of what you can do to sort of disconnect, because we're anxious, we're angry, we're full of grief, rightly so. All of us are full of grief and anger and rage, rightly so. That is not a good recipe. It is not a good recipe because everybody is fighting. I am exhausted. When I think back on my last couple of years and what has been one of my biggest life drain points, it has been people arguing with me over my point of views that have nothing to do with theirs, because I'm not there popping up physically in their living room and saying, you must think this way. They just, so we got to stop being so triggered by words, being so triggered. Oh, I didn't like the way Mark said those words the other day. Like, he wasn't speaking very, like, he wasn't being mindful of the chicas. Psst, who cares? We're all New Yorkers, and part of what ties New Yorkers together, like, maybe I should share the little clip. I'll share the little clip that I caught the other day in the New York City system, a real live New York City debate between two New Yorkers, who one kept saying he loved Trump, and the other one was like, I don't even want, the other girls, they were like, I don't even want to hear about it. But that's the way we are. Except what's great about this clip is that it was lighthearted enough. And we should be able to debate without getting our underwears and panties all bunched up. Kozi.
Yeah, you said a lot. And basically, number one, from rewinding a little from the beginning when you were talking, is don't lick boots. Okay, stay with integrity. I don't care if it's Donald Trump. I don't care if you like Zoran, whoever you like, whoever's your freaking hero. First of all, you shouldn't have heroes. You're the freaking hero. You can respect people, right? But the minute they don't do what vibrates with you, what resonates with your way of thinking, or if you think something is wrong, you got to call them out on it. It's your duty as a citizen, as a duty as a human being. You don't let people get away with stuff. When Trump is saying the Epstein files is a hoax, we're not going to let you get away with that. I mean, obviously, they're never going to release the originals. They're always going to hide it. They're not going to say, hey, by the way, I'm a criminal. By the way, I did this. They're never going to tell on themselves, right? And they're all freaking involved, probably most of them. That's why they're hesitating. The point is, stop licking boots. Call out when you see wrong. Call out when you see good. Praise it. And that's how we move in the right way in society, right? That's how society moves in a better way. You move towards the light. Mark?
I have a feeling that they're going to vote to release the list, and then some judge is going to deny it or something like that. And
Or
we're just
they're
going
going to
to
release a list that's
heavily
fake
redacted,
news.
and yeah.
So imagine, oh, hi, I'm I'm this. I'm not gonna say it because I don't want people cutting shit and making things. They're gonna cut a clip of me saying something and taking it out of context. But basically, you know what I mean. They're never gonna tell on themselves.
Well, it's not. I mean, yeah, it's the lists were expecting people like Bill Clinton to be on it, so I mean, we'll see what happens. But I'm backtracking before we wrap things up. You were talking about education and testing, comparing it to slavery, and when it comes to education, there are people who don't test well and don't like tests, but tough tough crap. I'm trying to be PG here, so I'm delaying myself. So tough crap because tests are a part of life. Okay, an SAT in order to get into college, like to see where you have to test your knowledge. That's just the reality of the situation. I became a stockbroker at 19. I had to pass a Series 7. Lawyers have to pass a bar exam. Doctors with the MCAT. Well, I had a real estate license in New York. I had to pass a test. Even for the CDL to drive a truck, you need a written test before you can get a permit. Even to get your driver's
But
license,
it's
you need
racist. What are you talking about? It's racist. We shouldn't
yeah.
do that.
It's insane. Tests are a normal part of life. There are people that don't test well, but they have the knowledge. They get nervous when it comes to tests, and I get that. But that's an unfortunate reality of the situation. You have to test. That's the only way. There's no honor system here when it comes to, oh, well, I don't test well, but I know the stuff. Well, do you know the stuff? Because the test shows otherwise. How else are we supposed to know if we don't test you?
We
So,
have a comment from Jeff. He
yeah.
says DOJ just reopened a new investigation into Epstein, which means they can withhold relevant documents. Just like we suspected, man. They're going to withhold.
It's just they want to eventually tire you out where like Trump said, people are still talking about it. It's like, yeah, we're still talking about it because we still didn't get the information. But they want you to be like, okay, we're voting on it tomorrow, Tuesday, tomorrow, the November 18th is supposedly the vote, and Trump is, telling people to vote, Republicans to vote for it. Last time it was Democrats along with Rand Paul and Massey that voted to release the list, and somehow Republicans voted no. And now Republicans are going to vote yes. Are the Democrats going to vote no
It's
now?
all
Like,
theater, ladies and gentlemen.
is it what, and even if it does, like, are we going to have like what I said, where a judge goes and rules that it can't be released because of whatever privacy laws or some bullshit to not get it released? Who knows? Or some of the names on there are redacted for whatever reason. We'll probably never get the full information. They're just going to play with us until the point where we actually do say, whatever, we don't care anymore. That's what they're hoping for. People like us are going to bring it up all the time. Epstein didn't kill himself, all that, and the hashtags on
Just like
random.
they did with the JFK files. We still don't have everything. They still hid things. They like, oh, we're
Yeah.
going to release it. We're going to release it 60 years later. And then they're like, oh, yeah, here's it. Oh, but we're redacting these 10 pages. The most important pages you're redacting. This is a freaking joke.
Yep.
Government is corrupt. I don't care. It's always going to be corrupt. It's up to us, the people, to keep spreading the truth, and that's how society moves. It's not about the politicians. The politicians are corrupt scum on both sides, and it's up to us to just move the conversation and make them uncomfortable with our words, not physically, of course, with our words, putting pressure and making them feel nervous, and maybe we get something out of them, maybe not, but don't expect much from politicians. Expect much from yourself. Stand up, be a leader in your community, make the changes, be the leader, lead by example. That's the best we're going to get.
Yeah, the good ones that do get in there get taken out pretty quickly. Like we see George Santos voted very conservative during his short stint, and next thing you know, he's in prison for Trump pardoned him, but he's not going to run again after that.
And the little
for something that if he was a regular citizen, he wouldn't have been imprisoned for that. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then you got Massey, who's been in Congress for a while, but he talks about AIPAC, and next thing you know, Trump is trying to take him down. And Marjorie Taylor Greene constantly bringing up the Epstein files, and now she's being attacked by Trump and saying he's going to primary her, and it's just and another thing, she's getting death threats now. She's talking about how she's getting death threats, and her son got a death threat, a pipe bomb threat at the construction business that she owns, because people, whatever Trump says, Trump is a very powerful person now, and I don't like him flexing his weight like that if you cross me, I'll destroy you. That goes on to kind of what a tyrant would do. And I know the left calls him no kings and tyrant and stuff like that, but now he's starting to show, and that, the powerful people can, when they're mad, they could be good people 90% of the time, but when they're mad, it's like, oh, you mess with me, I'll destroy you. And that's what we're seeing from Trump, unfortunately. And I don't like seeing it. So hopefully they could kiss and make up, not literally, but you know what I mean. You get a kick out of that one, all right?
Ay, Dios mío. I'm just thinking about everything that we've all been speaking about. Wanted to just take a moment to say welcome to all new listeners. We do this every Monday, 8 p.m. that we can. And we focus on New York and the people that you see on these screens. We are some of the New York City freedom fighters that said no and are still fighting the tyranny in New York. We still love New York, mi gente. One of the fights that we are having here in New York City is obviously the capital in Mamdani, the socialist in the capital of the world. We are seeing more tax the rich rallies. There was one that just happened just this past Sunday, November 16th, and it was organized by the New York City DSA and allies, and it was to demand taxes on the wealthy, to fund universal child care and protect New Yorkers from federal budget cuts. This also is part of a broader movement advocating for ultra rich to pay their fair share in taxes and support public services. And we already know that when you look at the charts, they're being in New York City, people are just being taxed really heavily across the board. And the reminder is that one of Mamdani's plans is to tax 2% levy on assets about above $100 million. So another thing that I want to say is that with this tax the rich, and one of the things that are important is in a conversation is increasing the wage to $30 an hour. Now, I live in New York City. I understand it's really expensive. It is really expensive here, period. But this, I don't think, is the solution. There are people doing very, very tedious jobs in New York City that don't even make $30 an hour. Some of them are in the MTA system, for example. You know, like I don't understand this. Like the other part is too that, you know, what happened in 2020 when we kept saying we need you know, the justifying people to increase their wages. Well, I don't know if you guys know this. I just posted this on my chat. I mean, on my feed. New York City restaurants are now hiring cashiers from the Philippines who work from Zoom for $3.75 per hour.
Wow.
And so, for example, restaurants in Manhattan, Queens, and Jersey City are leading this new experiment where customers walk in to order food. They are greeted by a smiling face on a digital screen.
Wow.
So we are ushering, like, really, guys, if you are real New York, then you understand that if we have Zohran Mamdani, it's because he wasn't voted in by real New Yorkers. He was primarily voted in by people, young people who've been here less than 5 years, and a huge percentage of immigrants, which are real New Yorkers too, but about 50% of us said no. Now, here's the other part. Besides the people that went to vote, there were more New Yorkers that could have voted, but we stayed home. So I don't want to keep repeating. We don't want to keep repeating ourselves. What we're saying is that the PSYOP has worked. There are a big number of people who, rightly so, and I get it, this is a corrupt system. But when you overwhelm the system, you see that change can be made. And we do not overwhelm the system by staying home. And we do not overwhelm the system by complaining at the people who are trying to create change. Because that's sort of like energetically crabs in the bucket mentality. All you're doing is weighing those people down. So as we start winding down today's show, I just kind of want us to sort of contemplate, including me. I've been sitting here thinking, how can we do better at this time? And it's okay to look back and say, we're all human beings. We can't be canceling human beings just because they had one bad moment, one bad decision, unless, of course, that was somebody got harmed or a child was harmed. There's no-nos that you can't come back from at all. But other than that, why can't we all try to make and put a better step forward? Mark?
Well, partly because the people on the other side are too stubborn and, I mean, stubborn is really the word, because they're convinced that our side is racist, and repeating Lesko Brennan again, alt-right, far-right, all the wrong right, xenophobic, transphobic, homophobic, all the phobics, tinfoil hat, QAnon conspiracy theorists. That's what they think of us, and there's no convincing them otherwise. For some of them. I mean, both of us, I'm sure, have friends on the left that like us and know who we are, but they don't get that's the majority of people on the right are family-loving, kind, gentle people, not the racist that the fake news says, but they just don't want to believe that. So it's hard to make amends with people who disown you for supporting Trump, especially when they've known you for so many years, to think that you're a racist on the low and all these stupid, like, what? Like, there were, I've had, a party in my own house where I was the only white person. And some of those people that were in my house, where I'm the only white person, thought I was a racist on the low years later when they find out that I'm a Trump supporter. So, I mean, I could always forgive and forget. I put out olive branches all the time with people who discommunicated with me for political reasons or otherwise. But you can't, some of them are just lost causes. And especially now, some of the people, even the new friends in politics, don't like the fact that I call them homosexuals and idiots and all that. And homosexuals by Kozi's Wellness is out now too, by the way. So just want to put that drop out there.
Why
You
we
got Chris
see
Cuomo. What's with the Chris Cuomo? Is that the Wrap It Up box, Kozi? I'm trying to understand.
I just pulled up. I remember when you guys were talking about Cuomo earlier. We were talking about him, and back during the pandemic, people had this meme when he was saying he's spying on you. Like, if you're going to go out, you're not following COVID protocols. This meme was going around, and it was Cuomo spying in your living room to make sure that you're social distancing in your house and wearing your mask while you do your business.
Yeah, but
what a
we
world.
have
What a
lived through
time
some times.
What a time to be alive.
What a
And
time to be
yeah,
alive.
and the censorship mark is coming from both sides now. I'm getting people telling me on the right things that I can't say, could say, can't say. You know what? F you all. I will say whatever the bleep I want, and I will die so doing so. So you're not going to shut this mouth up. A lot of people are policing me. Oh, this is this. I feel that this is this. No, it's not. No, it's not. We have girls doing that, guys doing that. Girls, stop it. Stop it. Not doing this.
Stop this.
You ain't my girl.
Mira. No, but you know what too? I unless the people are in my circle of trust, life is too precious to be paying attention to things that are just going to burden me. Because if all of a sudden I get taken out energetically because I see a comment and it infuriates me, let's just say I'm about to go see my mom. I don't want to go see my mom with that energy. My mom is frail. She's very frail right now, and I need to be my best when I go see her. So this is what I'm saying. Like, I guess, look, my point of view comes from this. I'm not trying to convince any of you, right? But one of my reasons for having a hard time forgiving Cuomo is because I spent over 8 years specifically working with seniors at a healthy living, as a healthy living consultant. And so I got attached to just hanging out with them and being taken by how blunt they are in very inappropriate times, like when you're trying to meditate and and all of a sudden a very perverted joke comes out of somebody's mouths, and I went from like, that's not the way that we're supposed to do this yoga class, to like just relaxing into the moment and just laughing with all of them, even though that's not traditionally the way I would do any yoga class. But the seniors, they were trying to teach me, because they're so close to death every single day, that it's okay to laugh at inappropriate moments, because everybody's carrying so much. And what I learned in all those 8 years is that I went from having such a fixed, we're going to go do this and then we're going to breathe like that, and then just relaxing into the moment and just trusting my spirit and them, that I was going to honor them by showing up as what I needed to share with them. But they also needed their space. And we are living in this world where we just want to inject our way. Remember, teachers, for example, they're guiding you. They're not supposed to be telling you how to do it, and or how to think things. For example, like, no, you're not supposed to think that you're a sovereign human. You are marginalized. Repeat after me. Marginalized. You're a victim in society. Stop being so obstinate and positive all the time, Sally. We need you upset and angry. We need to be an angry social justice warrior out there in the streets. And whether people have done this intentionally or but that is the result. We have a lot of angry young people, but they've been taught a lot of anger, and that emotion has been weaponized through the education system by maybe well-meaning people, but that's not, we've hurt each other. So this is a time to reflect. Thank you guys for joining us today. I really, we need to be more peaceful. So if you're feeling the calling, check out the Pérez sisters, follow our pages, just the Pérez sisters at Substack, and you could also become a member at our pages. Guys, closing comments or anything you'd like to add before we close?
Yeah, I mean, I meditate, and I learned how to meditate many years ago, and I managed to stay calm in very tough situations. But when it comes to politics, at least when I'm making a speech or whether I'm on a broadcast or something, I let it all out on my rants because I'm infuriated. And, you know, when somebody puts a comment on there, they think that they're bothering me. Like, I could literally read the comment, respond while I'm right before I take a piss, and then I walk back to the truck and I forget that they exist. But they think they got to me, and I'm only responding to the comment because I'm clapping back at the trolls, and I find it amusing. I find my response.
It's better for your algorithm.
Yeah, it's better for that's the whole thing.
Like
the more comments on a post, it's like, thanks for helping me. I'll go back and forth with you all day because more people are going to see my post now. Thanks, troll. So but they think they're getting a rise. Oh, I'm ruining his day. I'm not thinking about you at all, bro. You're that's in your head. I'm driving across the country in whatever state I'm in, and I mean, mostly I'm in Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas nowadays for like the last 6 months for the most part. But for you get the drift. I'm driving, I'm listening to my music. You think I'm thinking about you? Hell no.
All right. So basically, yeah, man,
But yeah, and I just want to, you know, my closing comment, because I do got to go too. So I'll make this my final thoughts. I'm going to repeat something that I said before. Young people, you are not the first young group of people to think the way you think. Ronald Reagan said he was a liberal too until he reached the age of reason. It sounds very simple. Tax the rich more and everything will be solved, but it really isn't that simple because, number one, the wealthiest people, you know, they pay very little income taxes. They have most of their equity in stocks, and the income from stocks isn't earned until they sell their stocks, and they they have tax deductible business expenses. They don't pay themselves that much of a salary to begin with. So most of the time what you're doing is taxing the people. You know, if you make more than $200,000 a year, like Obama put in his campaign back in 2008, that sounded like, okay, that sounds good. 200,000 is a lot. You should just tax them more. They got a mortgage to pay. They got kids that they got to put through school. They got car payments. Like 200,000. Like, yeah, it's a good living, but that's who's really being affected. So, and like Jeff pointed out, the Nordic countries don't have a minimum wage. And when you increase the minimum wage, all you're going to do is increase the cost of everything. Because now it's more expensive to make a hamburger at your fast food restaurant because you got to pay somebody $30 an hour to flip a burger, which is insane. That's, you know, $30 an hour, 40 hours a week. That's $1,200 a week, 50 weeks a year with 2 weeks of vacation. That's $60,000 a year to flip freaking burgers. Are you insane? So everything's going to go up. Rent is going to go up. It's going to be the exact same thing with different dollar amounts. You're making $30 an hour now. Now you're
Mamdani with his Z on his shirt, the superhero. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it's the last Zoran. I wanted to do a meme with the
The great
Zohan.
Zoran.
Yeah.
What, Zorro?
Anyway, so educate yourself on basic economics. Minimum increasing the minimum wage isn't going to solve anything. Taxing the rich more isn't going to solve anything. You're responsible for your own destiny. Don't let the government. The more you rely on the government, the more miserable you'll be. Because when it comes down to it, the people who, live in the projects on food stamps and things like that, that's all control. Because now, if you want to make something of yourself, you're going to lose all this free stuff. So don't think about making something of yourself. Just take this free stuff and vote Democrat. And that's all by design. So with that being said, I had solutions to that when I ran for office. I'm not getting into it now. We've already ran overtime, double overtime here, but we are every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, and you can check us out next week, and maybe I'll get into some more of my former campaign ideas in the future, but I'll pass it over to Kozi for his final thoughts.
Final thoughts. There's no final thoughts. We said what we said. Just be a good human being. Stop being a piece of bleep. All right. And stop making life difficult for others. That's all I'm saying. And yeah, support the show. Go to Cafecito Break. Where can they actually donate to you? Because independent journalists need some funds. We're not being paid by dirtbags and scumbags and corrupt people behind the scenes. We're not funded by globalists. So if you want to support real people who are dedicating their lives to spreading truth, come support us. Come support this show. So please, make a donation. Anything helps. $5, $10. You could do that monthly. You can do that whatever. $1, $2, whatever it is, shows your gratitude and helps fuel this fight.
Thank you. Everything does help. You could visit cafecitobreak.org and go to the donate tab, and you can see some options there, or you can simply become a subscriber of our Substack, which is like, I think, $5 a month or something like that. And that's a good way to support our initiative. Guys, so thank you for joining us. You're going to want to stick around for this little video that my sister and I captured a organic New York City moment. And here's what I'm going to quote. These are parts of the quote. I love Donald Trump. Those are not my words. This is what this man on the train kept saying. I love Donald Trump. He kept also repeating, just listen, when he got into a debate with a group of young ladies. The young ladies were shooting back at him like, well, you're being all disrespectful, because he was a rowdy presence that walked into that train and was pushing everybody around. And I thought that he was giving me diehard Bruce Willis vibes. But it was pretty funny. He was insulting everybody. Then he's telling people it's jokes. So this was a New York City subway debate. I want to share it with you guys in the spirit of we should be able to listen to each other and it be jovial, not turn into violence. So with that, I'll say goodbye.
Before you say that, what you were telling me, like he was calling people names, like certain
Yeah,
names?
so
What
he
he
was
saying?
when he got into the train, they was push people around. He was calling people names like tampons. He was obsessed with telling people they had liquid on their face. He kept saying, and he was just insulting people. And then all of a sudden, come on, what's gonna be a train full of real New Yorkers? Somebody's gonna bark back.
What do you mean liquid? Like water, or do you mean like
Things that come
tears?
out of
Oh, like bodily stuff, bodily fluids. Okay,
fluids
gotcha.
from the manly
Oh
perspective.
man, damn.
That yes, so he was come on, so the girls, you're gonna hear the language, true New York. If there's little kiddies around, maybe beep, but stick around and we'll post it on our social media too. Any little words before I play this video and say goodbye?
Yes, don't forget to buy my soaps, fresh batches. Right now we have 2 different options. The 6, it's 2 bundles, 6 soaps or 11 soaps, free shipping. So go to Kozi's Pure Soaps on Instagram and DM me.
That's right. All right, mi
And
gente.
a bunch of Cuomo-sexuals out now by Kozi Wellness, also on all platforms. And if you were a Cuomo-sexual, you could repent. The election's over. We forgive you. Don't be a sheep in the future. We love you anyway. Let's get back to being united and make America great again. Thank you.
That's right. All right, mi gente. So this is the video that I'm calling the New York City Hilarious Train Debate. Ready? I'll see you next week. We'll see you next week, Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Spread the words.
My male team here.
Wrong video. Excuse me. This one.
I love Donald Trump. She's like, right away. You need to let me finish my sentence.
She's a hater. Let her be a hater.
No,
You've
no.
been hating this whole time, bro.
Then you know what?
You've been hating this whole time. Calling
Negative.
everybody a tampon. Telling everybody they gotta come on your page.
It's jokes.
It's jokes. Okay.
You know what? You
Well,
guys,
you're a hater
you
too.
can't take it.
You're a
You want to be
hater
liberal.
too.
You want to be like the Generation Z on steroids. I'm driving a Ferrari. You guys got a moped with a
Where's the
flat
Ferrari
tire.
at? Looks like you on the 1 train to me. Begging for a bag.
You want to go there? I love you, bud. But I'm just saying this. Let people, let's stay with the facts. I said I love, it was a test. I love Donald Trump. She's like, right away.
You asked me, is that okay?
No, no.
I said no.
I said no. But as soon as I started saying it, you're rolling your eyes. How about just listen to someone? Just listen to them. Well, then that ain't you. And I respect that. That's your opinion. But you can say, I love Mayor Adams, I love Mandami, I love Gandhi, I love black, white, Christian, Muslim, and I'll listen. And I won't roll my eyes. I won't get the body movements. I'll listen. Without a prejudgment trying to answer you as you're trying to tell someone something. You're trying to answer someone before they even explain themselves. That's fucked up. I know, damn. Why did you try to stick me with my papers? You're wrong, and I'm right. And maybe I'm right. But let people explain how they feel without judgment. And then, no, I asked you a question, but before I even had a question out, you're like, ugh. What the fuck? At least let me thank you, Buskis. You guys got.
This is New York, right?
No, it is New York.
Yeah, but we're allowed to
People get-
You are allowed. You are
We're
allowed.
allowed to ask questions, but you gotta take the answer that we give.
I don't
Like,
mind the
we're allowed to
answer,
not like
but
your
I don't mind the answer.
We're allowed to not
But
like
let
your
me
answer.
finish the-
And you hate our answer.
Let
So
me
we're just
fin-
hating your
no,
answer.
no, no,
We're
no.
hating our answer.
Let
We're
me-
back and forth,
but-
back and forth.
Stop. Let me finish the
Well,
question.
you don't
I
like to
love
yell
Trump.
at. You like to yell at people, but you don't like to
Before-
yell at
what?
them.
You can't
That's
mention that
not
either
a
because
question.
you
You
already
can't
get
say
crazy.
one
No.
word that, but you like to yell at people?
No, before I even finished my question, she was like, at least hear
No,
my...
let her hate. She can hate all she wants.
She can hate all she wants.
It's New York City. We're all a bunch
It
of
is,
haters.
but listen to people.
That's true.
Just take 1 second.
You like half true, for real.
Just listen to him before I give you the question. You're like, oh, you condemn me already.
Bye, hater. Yeah.
Hater.
Bye, Bruce. Bye, hater.
I'm jackass.
Bye, Albert. Bye, Alberto. See you later, Tampa.